Oh, I'm sorry, up until today I've never heard of them before.
I don't really know who the Lions are.
I think they're a local business charity fundraising organisation.
I don't know who the Lions are.
Know nothing about them at all?
I don't know anything about them.
It's a charity putting on local events. That's basically it.
So, who are the Lions? Well, considering how much good they do, it's incredible to think most of us know very little about this extraordinary organisation. Most people, if they've even heard of them, know the Lions as the people who run the local firework display, and that's about it.
The reality is, this organisation is so much more.
Lions clubs are relatively young. The first club was set up in Chicago by businessman Melvin Jones in 1917. Of course, there were business circles and associations before that, but they were always focused on serving members' businesses.
When he started our organization back in the early 1900s, Melvin Jones realized there had to be more than just if you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
What if these men, Jones said, who were successful because of their drive, intelligence and ambition, were to put their talents to work improving their communities?
And so the founding principle for Lions clubs across the globe was born.
This combination of businessmen working together to improve their communities and the world at large proved popular, and clubs started to spring up all over the United States and beyond, with countries like Canada, China, Mexico and the Philippines setting up their own clubs. However, it wasn't until after the Second World War that Lions clubs reached our shores. During the war, Canadian servicemen posted to London were appalled by the conditions children of the Blitz were living in. Not only were their fathers fighting overseas and their mothers working in factories, but the children had to deal with poor food, few clothes, constant danger, and many of their homes being destroyed around them. Through the Lions clubs in Canada, the servicemen raised funds to help and were expecting the Lions clubs in England to distribute them. Unfortunately, there was a small problem. There weren't any. So instead, the Queen Mother, at the time Queen Elizabeth, who was patron of the Church of England's Children's Society, arranged for the Society to distribute the funds on behalf of the Canadian Lions. After the war, the Queen was so grateful to the Canadian Lions, she sent her equerry, Colonel Edward Wyndham, to Canada to thank them for their help. He was invited to visit the Chicago headquarters of the Lions Clubs International to see what Lionism was really about, and was so impressed with what he saw that soon after he returned to England in 1950, he set up the first club in Britain and Ireland, known as the London Host Club. And the very first meetings of this host club were held here at the Criterion Restaurant above the Lillywhites building in London's West End. Today, the Lions have clubs in 202 countries and over 1.3 million members. The Lions plan and participate in a wide variety of schemes to help people in need, but there is one area that they have been particularly instrumental in, and it's all down to one remarkable lady. Helen Keller, an inspirational author, political activist and lecturer, who had become blind and deaf at the age of 19 months through illness, spoke at the Lions International Convention in 1925. She challenged the Lions to become the Knights of the Blind in the crusade against darkness.
The Lions took up that charge, and since then they have embarked on a worldwide campaign to prevent blindness wherever possible. We've had both the Campaign Sight First 1 and the Campaign Sight First 2. On Campaign Sight First 2, within 2 years, worldwide, we raised over $200 million. We've probably saved the sight of over 27 million people worldwide. We've undertaken something like 4.5 million cataract operations, and we've actually succeeded in preventing river blindness on the continent of South America.
We invented the white stick. We're trying to invent a talking white stick so people can record their their shopping list on it and things like that. We'd fly people in to do hundreds of cataract operations, and it costs $6 to save someone's eyesight. And if that isn't worth raising money for, I don't know what is.
On a smaller scale, clubs are working to prevent blindness in their local communities by enabling people to have regular eye tests, preventing blindness through conditions such as diabetes and glaucoma. Although sight-related projects are very special to the Lions, it certainly doesn't stop them getting involved in other important areas. In 2004, a devastating tsunami hit Asia. Many hundreds of thousands were killed and millions made homeless. The survivors desperately needed food, accommodation and medical support. The Lions groups from within the affected regions and across the globe rose to the challenge, and much needed aid was provided. Another focus for the Lions worldwide is helping children in need. During the war between Bosnia and Herzegovina in the 1990s, cities were destroyed and many lives were lost. During the devastation, the hospital in Kosovo was bombed, killing many and leaving injured children with no medical facilities. The Lions of the British Isles and Ireland answered the cry for help. With help from the Lions Club's International Foundation, they organised a medical evacuation of 42 critically ill children to hospitals in the UK. 40 of those children survived. But the devastated healthcare service in Bosnia put even more children at risk.
Hospitals have been destroyed, paediatric units have been destroyed, and we have worked very closely with Child Advocacy International, who have been instrumental with our assistance in actually providing funding, both from the UK and through our international foundations, through LCIF, and actually providing hundreds of thousands in funds to actually rebuild and maintain and equip those wards in various hospitals.